Okay, she is a sexy lady. Jamie's right.
What, were you disagreeing with her?
I just didn't see her as that sexy, but I guess I never really leered at her because when I first played this game, I was like still like chivalrous boy.
White knighty boy.
And I was still like, the best way to respect women is to never acknowledge their sexuality. That's what society has taught me is the proper way to respect a woman, or at least that's what my upbringing taught me was the proper way to respect women. Is completely ignore their sexual being.
And just demand them to do nothing but housework, chores, and...
No, not that. It's just more like acknowledge...
Have my food on the table or else I will beat her.
It's more like acknowledging someone as a sexual being is like a degradation of them. Because there's like a puritanical mindset that believes that.
Are we starting early or?
Sure, you know what? Like, just start the episode like a minute ago. It'll be fine.
Wherever that
Yeah, we were gonna start on the third lap here because we started a session.
But we started to get into like heavy mystery time of just like
heavy mystery time. No, it's just yeah. Jodie's a sexy lady. We didn't know it, or I didn't acknowledge it as a teenager.
She don't need no man.
I mean, she don't, but
I mean, if she wants a man, she can have
yeah.
But...
She's certainly entitled to a man. Like, you know, if
well, I don't know. I wouldn't
if she
say
finds the right man.
I was gonna say I don't know if anyone's entitled.
Okay,
to
she's
a
entitled
person.
to seek out a man of her desire. How about that?
Sure, I'm good on that.
You're always allowed to look for a partner, right?
As long as you're looking in appropriate places, not inappropriate.
Yeah,
places.
yeah. Don't just walk around like anime cons asking people to be your.
Hey,
your
be my girlfriend.
Or boyfriend.
Boyfriend.
There are plenty of awkward, creepy girls out there too. Let's not discriminate. Let's not be sexist here.
It's just the boys far outweigh the girls.
Speaking of being sexist, what is the hot topic those last couple weeks? The Talabama really set a fire on
Talabama.
The Talabama. That's the Taliban of Alabama.
Oh, right. The GOP of Alabama.
Yeah. I mean, Taliban like GOP. It's basically
same thing.
Like they hold all the same beliefs. They just like call their god a different name, but it's like it's all the same rules on life. It's like all the same. Biblical Sharia law is just updated biblical law with a couple of like reforms. So like, you know, like 2 women can witness or like I think 5 women can witness a rape and report it and the person goes to jail. Whereas like under Christian law, like I think 2 men have to, and you know, stuff like that. I think women are allowed to read in Islam. I don't know. It's still like they're. I'm not trying to defend one. Like they're both terrible.
Isn't that the case that usually the woman handles the finances in
I mean, that's happened on and off in all sorts of different cultures of Abrahamic faith over time. So like that's not specific.
Well, because it's like, you know, the man like does all the work and puts in all the effort and all that, and the woman is supposed to take control of the money and the finances.
I mean, I don't know if that is like, again, I don't know if that's Islamic culture over. Yeah, and I don't know if that's like a religious belief or just how they conduct themselves.
I don't know. I'd be curious to find out, because that is like one of those things that's like I've noticed, and like I've seen it happen a lot, like especially with couples that walk into stores and stuff.
But hey, do we want to talk about where this came up? This talk of women's rights and the heavy topic of
just completely ignoring Roe versus Wade.
Yeah, people are trying to overturn Roe v. Wade, like lots of very conservative state legislatures, even though people in there, like even though their constituents by huge margins do not want them to do this. Like, I mean, what is it? 1 in 4 women have had an abortion or have an abortion in their life. Like, it's pretty common, and it's like, gosh. A good. I should bring up my new YouTube crush. You know how every couple months I find a new YouTuber who I just have to watch all of their content and who I mostly agree with, and I really like the way they think.
Current is Destiny?
No. The new one is. I mean, I still watch him, but no. The current one is Beau of the Fifth Column. He is this very humorous guy. A couple of his videos blew up, so you would recognize him as soon as he started talking. He has this very southern accent. He's a very like rough and tough military type guy, and one of the things he points out is 1 in something like 4 women will have an abortion, and most of them that do already have children and are just they're just done having children. They're like, no, I'm like too old to have another baby, or I've already got plenty and I don't want more. Like, it's not young 20-somethings using abortion as like birth control. Like, that's a myth. It turns out that most people use birth control as birth control. Considering that in their lifetime, 90-something%, I don't remember the exact stat, but 90-something% of women of I guess female women technically, that go on chemical birth control for one reason or another in their life. Now, sometimes that's not always to control birth. Sometimes that's to just
help with medical problems.
Yeah, like help with the
endometriosis and stuff, like my sister has. And
yeah, I mean, my mom was on the pill when she was 12, not because she was sexually active, but because she had like horrible, severe, monthly cycles. Anyway, ultimately, this is going to be the biggest politics branch ever because we're talking about the abortion portion. That's a big deal.
For some people, apparently, even though it really shouldn't be.
It really shouldn't be. Like, people don't take this decision lightly.
Get your fucking head out of other people's vaginas.
Yeah, well, get your head out of people's... Again, like, it's not a secret. Jamie, my wife, had an abortion last year. And when we were always proponents of the right to have an abortion, but we always thought of this as like some like...
This will never happen to us.
Yeah, this is something for like children who like their birth control fails, they're not on chemical birth control and their condom broke, or they just did a dumb idiot thing and they got pregnant, right? Like they had a one-time fuck up mistake.
We will never be in a case where we will.
Yeah. And then it turns out like we had a pregnancy where 14 weeks in you find out like, oh, this is not going to live and it's a danger to...
Because it was what? The brain was forming outside of the skull.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. There's a folic acid uptake disability on that fetus, and it might actually be an issue with Jamie. We're not sure yet. We
haven't gotten around to yet.
Yeah, we haven't had the second pregnancy yet, so there's no good way to know until she gets pregnant again. But yeah, there was an issue, and it was going to probably not even be born. Like, it had such deformities, but if it was, it wouldn't have lived past a few weeks. So, like, yeah,
get that shit out of there.
Yeah, like all you're doing is harming everyone by continuing that abortion, or by continuing that pregnancy. Freudian slip. Like, Jamie's not going to be better off carrying carrying a dead fetus around for 5 months, or a fetus with a death sentence for 5 months. Like, we wanted this baby, if there was a way to like be like, okay, well, we're going to inject this thing. Yeah, we can fix this thing in utero. It's not, like it's possible. It's not some long shot. We would have been like, hell yeah, let's do it. And then we'd have our first child by now, which is something we both really would have loved to have. But I guess part of my point here is like, you have to have a real failure of human empathy to not think about these kinds of things when you talk about issues like abortion. Like, it's fine to have strong opinions. It's fine to even say, well, I don't think it is fine to say, but like I can understand if you still think abortion is wrong, even under any circumstance. But have some human empathy and think about the situation of the people who you're telling that they can't do this thing because you believe it's murder. Like, but again, it's the problem is a lack of, like, the whole reason you have this stance is because you have a lack of human empathy. It's really an issue of controlling bodies, and I mean, we can prove that, right? Like, let's show that screenshot. Did Jamie give you that screenshot?
I'm sure she did. I know exactly what screenshot you're talking. Oh, right, that's
so. Me and Jamie love arguing on the internet. It's very...
It's a favorite pastime.
Yeah, it's cathartic sometimes if you can do it without getting too emotionally invested. And this person posted on one of On the Branches posts because Jamie had shared it. Ooh, ow, that hurt. Don't get bumped. Okay, cool. We made it to the end. We just made it in second. But it wasn't our rival, so we're fine. Yeah, this lady posted this really weird thing, and of all posts, it was the one where we were like, hey, like, mass shootings are bad, people. Like, that's
and
where
trying
she decided to plant her flag.
To liken it to abortion.
Yeah, she tried to, like, put, like, the worst mass shooting in U.S. history. Like, she was like, just like abortions, yeah.
No,
Linda, no.
Linda, You're drunk. Stop drinking.
Yeah, Linda's family, come get your woman. But
please take her head out of other people's vaginas.
Yeah.
And just tell her to shut the fuck up, please.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I am a firm believer that abortion should be available, like, on tap until about the 20 or 24 week mark, which is where, 90-something% of abortions happen. There was also the John Oliver point John Oliver had made on his show recently about this whole thing. It was about, it was a really, like, poignant argument about basically, like, what rights are you willing to give to whom? Mm-hmm. I mean, you've heard the body autonomy argument before. Like people are allowed to opt out of organ donation, and that's their dead bodies. How are living people? You know what I'm talking about. Like, organ donation might save someone's, or is way more, is pretty likely to save someone's life if you have the compatible. If you're
blood types, and whatever.
Yeah. If they find,
if the organ fits,
if they find a match for you. But again, like, a living woman has less rights than a person, like, at the DMV deciding whether or not they want their dead body parts to go to save someone's life. Like that's the body autonomy argument. But John Oliver.
Well, you know the counter to that, though.
What's that?
People are like, oh well, if I put that I'm an organ donor, they're just gonna let me die so they can steal my organs.
Which has never happened in human history, and like,
because there's not some code of ethics in the medical industry.
Like show anyone ever doing that, and you have, like, wide open broken the greatest, like, scandal in human history. Right?
What's the thing called? The do no harm thing?
The Hippocratic Oath.
Yeah, that thing.
Which is not actually the Hippocratic Oath. That was something slightly different, but close enough.
You know the thing that I'm trying to.
I finished.
To allude into, right? Like,
yeah, I know what you're talking about, and it's just all these arguments are ridiculous. It's because, again, these people wouldn't carve out an exception. Like let's go through. You know what? We've got a few minutes. Let's proceed to next. Imagine a hypothetical. Let's have a really severe hypothetical.
Right. Go on.
Say, like, a guy rapes his own daughter, and then forces her to have the child. Like, that's absurd to, like, as a society say, yes, that little, to encode into law that you can't stop this from that you can't allow that abortion to happen. That, like, a little 12 or 14-year-old girl could by the state be made to have her daddy rapist's baby. Like, what does that say about you and the morality of you as a person? If you can't seriously step outside of that and say to yourself,
yeah, maybe we should.
Are my beliefs here wrong? Like, maybe I'm in the wrong here.
Or am I just way too invested in what my my governing religion has told me?
Maybe this like clump of cells that's not going to have a brain for weeks to come, not even have a brain, a central nervous system, as Jamie likes to say, a shrimp has a more complex central nervous system at this point. I didn't do it alone. Oh, by the way, that wasn't a hypothetical. That was my great-grandpa. He raped my grandma and forced her to have the baby. And, like, so whenever I hear this, like, I tell people they remind me of my great-grandpa Arba. Yeah, these things actually happen. This is another thing that I need to bring up. The statistics say about 1 in 5 women becomes the victim of a rape in their lifetime. Every decent man knows that that's a huge fucking lowball. Because, hey, let's go into another Grand Prix. This is a lighthearted racing game discussion.
Just normal thing.
Yeah. Everybody knows that that's a lowball if they're any decent. Because they've gained the trust of women, and half the women in their life have come out about when they were raped or when they were molested or when they were assaulted by some man. Like, my great-grandma trusted someone enough to confide that in someone 60, 70 years after it happened. Because, then my great-grandmother, also a horrible monster, murdered the baby because she couldn't stand to see the constant reminder that, that my grandma had lost her purity in her, like, early teens or whenever it was. I can't remember. But yeah, like, these are the sorts of, like, hells and torments that are a consequence of you not thinking out your position. because this is a thing that they're going to try to make people go through in some of these states, in Alabama, in Georgia. People in these states are going to go through what my grandmother did, and that shouldn't happen ever. That shouldn't have happened when it happened, but like in today's society, when like no, as a society we have to say no to that. And if you can't get on board, then like I don't know what to do with you.
And besides, all you're doing is making it illegal to have an abortion. That's not
yeah. You're not stopping
people.
abortion, right? Like this is the same crowd for the most part that says like you can't ban guns. People are just gonna buy guns. Like really, but they're not gonna have abortions. I mean, a lot of the anti-abortion arguments stem from racism, right? They want to have a permanent underclass of racial minorities to lord over and keep oppressed. And because access to abortion is a huge indicator to a person's economic success. If you can get an abortion, you're much more likely to finish school, get a better job, focus on your career, etc. And a lot of the anti-abortion movement is actually baked into that wanting to keep people oppressed, because it is disproportionately a black or Hispanic person in America is going to have an abortion. Now, when you like filter out economic situations, it's basically the same. We're basically just saying they're targeting these people, and they know they're vulnerable because they're more likely to be poor.
Right.
And that's just shitty. Don't be shit. Why are you being shitty? Just, like, live and let die. As the Beatles said. Like, let people take care of themselves. Like, and another thing I constantly hear is like, well, it's not scientific, which is dumb because you know what a doctor is? A doctor is a trained scientist. They can tell you where, like if that guy giving the abortion's like, oh no, it's a clump of cells, it's like the size of a grain of rice, it's got these properties. He's probably right. And when people try to like claim science says blank blank, like science says life starts here, like no, human life started like 2 million years ago on the savannah somewhere, and has been a continuous process ever since. And terminating one pregnancy is not like
world.
Some abomination. In fact, it's probably a net good for society. Usually, people make decisions that are good for them, like when they have time to.
While we're on the train of sounding like George Carlin a bit, because this is along the lines of something that he's actually said.
Yeah. None of this is new. Like I probably never even heard the bit you're quoting, but like none of this is like super.
Well, like if I could find it and play it back to you, it sounds very similar to like what you just said. Very similar, but it's also like we're all these rich white people that are adopting all these black babies.
These poor black babies with children. Medical issues. Yeah, I know.
And instead of let's make abortion illegal, so let's adopt all these children that are in need.
Yeah, right. Well, okay. You know what? This is going to be the two-parter because this is going too far. This is going to be the two-parter politics branch. Sorry, everybody that hates politics branch, but I know most of you love it. So we'll see you tomorrow.
If you don't actually like it, please say something because otherwise you don't know.